Okay, so here we have now a two-step equation. What makes it a two-step equation? Well, you have your variable here, and we've done two things to it. First, we multiply it by 2, so that's one operation, and then we add 3 to it. That's another operation. So there's two operations, 1, 2. So two steps. Two things happen to the variable here, and on this side we have a value. So if it's two things happening here, to solve it, to isolate that variable, we're also going to need to do two things. Now, here we have a multiplication and an addition. So we're going to do the opposite of both of those. But which order should we follow? Which one should we get rid of first? Well, it helps if you think of BEDMAS again. But this time we're going in the opposite direction. Instead of starting from the B and going to the AS, we're going the other way. We're starting here. We're looking at the first thing from the right, which is addition and subtraction. Well, we have an addition right here, don't we? So that's the first thing we're going to get rid of. Okay? We're not solving yet. We're getting rid of. We're isolating. So plus 3 is the first thing we get rid of. How do we get rid of adding? We do the opposite of adding, which is subtracting. So we subtract 3 from both sides. So again, subtract 3 from both sides. When you add 3 and you take away 3, they cancel out each other. And then 8 minus 3 on this side is 5. So 2x is what will remain on this side. You added 3, you took away 3, you got 2x. These two canceled out. And 8 minus 3 is 5. Now we have a one-step equation. So we know how to solve that. 2 times x is 5. So get rid of the 2. 2 times x. So do the opposite of multiplying. Divide. Divide both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So you have 1x, which we just write as x. And then 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. So there's our answer, 2.5. Now, how can we be sure that this is our correct answer, that this isn't, that we haven't made a mistake at some point? Well, we have our original equation here. Let's check. Let's substitute 2.5 into our equation. So our equation was 2x plus 3 equals 8. So 2x plus 3. I'm going to substitute x with the answer I got, 2.5. 2 times 2.5 plus 3. All right? And if the answer I get is 8, then I know I've done my work correctly. So 2 times 2.5 plus 3. First we multiply. 2 times 2.5 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. That's the answer that I'm supposed to get. So that means I did everything correctly. So let's look at another example. Here we have negative 3x minus 7 equals 2. Another two-step equation. Once again, we have multiplication, and we have, in this case, subtraction. So two steps, so let's get rid of both of those numbers so we just have x by itself, and then we can see what x is equal to. So again, BEDMAS tells us to start with addition and subtraction. We start from this side, remember, when we're getting rid. So we're getting rid of negative 7, minus 7. So the opposite of subtraction is addition. So add 7 to both sides. These two cancel out. And 2 plus 7 is 9. So these two canceled out. You're left with negative 3x. And then 2 plus 7 is 9. All right, so now we have a one-step equation. And we just have negative 3 times x. So negative 3 times x. Get rid of the negative 3 by dividing by, and don't forget to divide by negative 3. Not by 3, but negative 3. Divide both sides by negative 3. So negative 3 over negative 3 cancels out, and you're left with x. And then 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. So once again, substitute your answer in the original equation to check that it's correct. You've got negative 3x minus 7 equals 2. Substitute x with negative 3 and see what happens. So negative 3 times negative 3 minus 7. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. 9 minus 7 is 2. That's the number here. So yes, we did everything correctly. Here's a third example. 4 over 5x equals 8. Now you might see this and think, well, is that one or two operations? Well, it's two. because what we have here is 4 times x divided by 5. So there's two things happening. We're multiplying and we're dividing. So you can rewrite this as 4 times x over 5. Right? And you think of fraction multiplication, you think x is just a number, so it's x over 1, 4 times x, 5 times 1, 4x over 5 equals 8. So here we also have two operations, and according to BEDMAS, division and multiplication have the same level, so we can get rid of either one of those. So we'll get rid of the division first, 4x divided by 5. So we'll multiply by 5. Since we're dividing by 5, we can multiply by 5, but multiply both sides by 5. The 5 and the 5 cancel out, and you're left with 4x on this side, and then 8 times 5 will be 40. So our equation now has become a one-step equation. 4 times x equals 40. So 4 times x, divide both sides by 4, x equals 10. Okay. I'll leave it up to you to prove that that answer is correct by substituting in the original equation.